tonight we have a new contender that has entered the ring. Welcome back to the Superhero Showdown Round 2. From all the commercials and everything I've seen leading up to this premiere, I was actually really looking forward to Supergirl. I thought it could be a really good series. I've always liked Supergirl in the comics, and I think she's a great character. So what did I think about the season premiere? Well, it was not great. I thought there was more wrong with it than there was right with it. First of all, I felt that the show was seriously super rushed. It's like all this stuff happened within 5 minutes of the show. All of a sudden now, she was a reporter, and now she's Supergirl, and she's saving people from airplanes, and then all of a sudden, she comes up with this crazy costume, which I don't know where she got the material from, because it's exactly like Superman's outfit, just about. And then she tells her good friend who she is, and he don't really seem too upset about it or freaked out about it. And then she has a sister, I guess it's her sister, or it's her best friend, I never really figured that out either, who works for some sort of extraterrestrial government, something or another. Again, I have no idea because they didn't really explain that too well. And of course, being that she's her sister or best friend, don't know yet, what a coincidence that she takes Supergirl into this facility that's run by a hard-nosed guy who don't want nothing to do with Supergirl. And then all of a sudden we got all these Kryptonians all over the planet Earth that crashed their spaceship apparently, which I can already tell it's going to be Monster or Superhero of the Week type of episodes. And then we had some kind of crazy emotional sequences in the middle of the show that made no sense to me whatsoever. Didn't feel emotional, felt very forced. I mean, you watch an hour-and-a-half episode, you should come away with some sort of sense of character, of feeling for these characters, but I didn't feel anything for any of these characters. Then you have Jimmy Olsen, who looks like he can bench press 600 pounds, who, of course, also knows who Kara is. And the effects in the show were okay, but they were not that spectacular. So I'm really hoping this show finally finds its feet, because The Flash also started off a little slow as well until they finally found the story they were looking for, and then it just exploded. I'm hoping Supergirl is the same way. So let's get back to the actual good superhero shows. First we have Gotham. Now last week Gotham was really good, and this week was even better. I really love what they're doing with Enigma in this show. If you don't know who Enigma is, he's eventually becomes the Riddler. Pretty much in the first season, he was sort of a side character, and he was always in the show, but he never really developed his character. In season 2, he's already on his second murder now. It was a pretty shocking murder this week. I didn't even see that one coming. But the actor who plays Enigma is doing such a great job with it. We also have the storyline here with the Firebug, or the Firefly as they're calling her. I don't know what her name is now. And I wasn't crazier about her in the episode before this, but they really built on her character in this episode, and I thought it was really well done. And she ended up being a pretty cool character. Seems like the villains here are almost taking over the story from Jim Gordon and even Bruce Wayne. They did show Bruce Wayne briefly in this episode, and it was a good scene. And then we have the story with Catwoman, or I guess Catgirl, Selena Kyle in this. Not a big fan of Selena Kyle in this show. I don't think the actress playing her is that great, but it's a small complaint. She's not in the show that much yet. Alright, now on to The Flash. Wow, I mean, what can you say about this episode? It was so amazing. A very well told, very powerfully acted, great story here. Excellent writing. Everything about this episode was great. What I really, really liked about this episode is it wasn't so much about the superheroes this time, or going off and doing all these superhero activities. At the very end, you get a few minutes of action, which was great. I mean, of course, it's Flash, you have to have some action in it. But they focused on the story and the characters. And that's what makes this show so good, is I love all the characters in the show. There was a continuing storyline about Iris's mother showing up, who she thought was dead for all these years. Loved the way they portrayed her character in this. I mean, it could have gone the mushy route, but instead they went the hard-edged route. Very realistic. I'm so glad she didn't just bow and melt under the pressure of, oh, it's my mother, blah, blah. No, she stood up for what she believed in and loved it. And the ending of it was great, like I said. They had some action in it, but the actual sort of surprise at the end was really a lot of fun. Cannot wait until next week. And now, on to Arrow. Arrow won last week because it was so awesome, and this week is no exception. It is still awesome. They pulled away a little bit from promoting Legends of Tomorrow, and it kind of made it its own show finally. As I was complaining last week about the island, I didn't really like the side story of him being back on the island, but it got really interesting this week. So I thought, they really picked it up on that. Absolutely love the new Arrow Cave or Arrow Headquarters, whatever you want to call it. As soon as the doors opened and they showed that whole basement, I was like, oh my god. Finally, they have a really awesome Arrow base. There was a lot to do with Detective Lance in this episode too, which again was really well done. I'm so glad they didn't wait until like the middle of the season or the end of the season to reveal that Oliver found out about what he's doing. So I really like that, and I really like that he pretty much confronted him about that. The one thing about the show I didn't mention last week, which I should have, but I forgot, was the relationship between Arrow and Felicity. I mean, obviously they're married now, so it kind of takes away sort of the... I can't really say it takes away the fun of them flirting around or, between her and what Adam had or anything like that. But it seems a little off now that they're married, I guess. It don't really seem like there's much of a connection, or there's not a whole lot of fun going on with any of that storyline anymore. It's kind of like done. And of course, Oliver Queen is now running for mayor, which had a lot of funny moments in there. So as always, Arrow was a solid episode. So what wins this week, you ask? Well, I would have to pick The Flash. Amazing episode. And as much as I love Arrow and as much as I like Gotham, The Flash has just become like this powerhouse of a television show now. It just has such likable characters, great special effects. I mean, those effects on Firestorm are just as good as any movie. Really likable characters, excellent writing. I mean, it just seems like The Flash is really pulling ahead this season. So I'll see everybody next week.